Spirit is no longer playing with us. They no longer playing with me, okay? And they show me in real time just how muddy things are in your energetic pool, your frequency. If you continue to allow individuals to play these mind games, these psychological mind games. You've been working way too hard. You look into these things. You look into certain areas that you typically would not just be attracted to or whatever. Clearly, you've been shown different aspects of your world to broaden your sense of self, to get the bigger idea of what it is that you need to be paying attention to. And boy, I'm so serious when I say I prefer my solitude. I prefer not being surrounded when I'm the smartest one here. What are we doing? So I had to really evaluate what it was that I had going on. And this can be for the collective or whoever. I'd really just be like, look, stop playing on my name. The divine has always surrounded me. So even in these situations where where others want to bring out the worst in you, you don't have to join them there because you already know what that consists of. And it's muddy. It's distorted. Crabs in the barrel. And I ain't gonna stay there with you. I refuse to give away all of my joy for the sake of holding on. Heavenly high, heavenly high, heavenly high, heavenly high. To the good, to the pure, to the nurturing souls. Heaven high, heaven high, heaven high, heaven high. To those eternal beings that must know. Even when it comes to going back to natural order, back to divine self, it will take for you, for one, to move. Spirit says, stop it! Where does this thing leave off at? Spirit says, stop it. Okay. I'm the daughter of the Divine Mother. Why would I need to lie? I cannot lie. I choose her above all else. People, animals, things, this world. So why would I lie? I haven't been lying before, so why would I start now? These cretins, all they know how to do is muddy the playing field. They come along thinking that they are going to one-up somebody. Because they only see surface level. And this is how you can always be able to tell the difference from those who are seeing with their spiritual eye and who is just filled with content. I refuse. Okay? No naysayer can ever make me feel bad about myself. And me making the choices to do better for myself, even if that means leaving your ass alone. I be saying this up front, like, listen, when Spirit revealed things to me and showed us seer the truth, everything is already divinely orchestrated to be done away with. At this point, what's playing out is just for you to learn the lesson from this year. And this is what I came here to talk about with you all today. About something that's been coming up strongly in my own healing journey. Triangulation and the rescuer and savior performance in relationships. And a lot of these things are to bind you, to ground you in something that you don't want to be in. Especially how it plays out online and across past connections. Or even if it's it's like a jitterbug. Like they just are sweeping themselves, trying to get in your aura, your reality, and they will play their part. Same way that you are playing your role. Alright? So you know how sometimes one person become the center of a web. It's two different webs. You're either on the Divine Mother's current or you ain't. The other one consists of strangulation. It is draining you. It is draining your vitality, your energy, your source, and you're giving it away. So how this shows up in the physical, because everything is already taking place in the spiritual realms. Someone shares a narrative, posts content, sends messages, and suddenly multiple people are pulled in, commenting, reacting, taking sides. That's triangulation. Energetically, it's a feeding system. Everyone gets a little hit, their dopamine rush, attention, validation, drama, or the feeling of being the hero. Okay? but no one actually grows. I've seen this countless times in my own life. Okay. And it's actually what spurred me to really break this down. Not only for myself, but for if anyone else out there wants the deeper layers of what this actually is and what it does to someone's mind, their mental, right? Energy, anything else that comes with it. So from past relationships where no matter the original dynamic, the pattern keeps going. One person plays the savior, how they act, their demeanor. They are acting as if they are saving you, that you need saving. And the other plays the victim or the messenger. Online, it spreads even faster. Slander, subtle posts, proxies carrying the story. It's like a web where energy is feasted on from person to person, often long after the original connection ended. Why are you still talking about something? If you felt like you got the one up on an individual, yet you had to go on a narrative spree to gain whatever attention and upper hand that you thought was going to come from that. And this is how many truly and utterly just be digging their own graves, because you don't know who's who. You do not know who's who out here. But I know one thing. I come with receipts. Facts. B. Stop using my name for whatever glitter and stank gold you think you're gonna get. Now, what I realized is this, because I had to really sit. What fragments of myself wanted to be saved? And in return, people would sacrifice or perform helping me to avoid looking at their own broken mirror. It wasn't truly about me. It was their unhealed pain projecting outward. Now, one thing too that I've realized, if you want to come into my energy, I can read the energy field very well. So I'm already letting them know, or whoever, once the energy opens up, I can already see where it's going to go. Now, spirit guides, they just be watching, like, how far will I let it go? How far are you going to let it go? Because of certain fragments that you may still need to clean up. You gotta clean up. You gotta clean up your energy. And I am not any bystander from that as well. The real turning point for me was understanding true compassion. It's not overextending, performing, rescue, or carrying someone else's brokenness. Real compassion starts within holding tenderness for my own spirit first. It's calm boundaries. It's saying mind quiet. When projections flood in, it's releasing with love instead of drama. So let me get into this. I just had a situation transpire where, sure, of course, I care, okay? But when that care is being stepped on, I gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. Because when you have done everything you can to ensure that you officially have your peace of mind, a peaceful soul, right? Your own sanctuary, why would you allow anyone to come in and be disruptive? Okay? So there was a moment where I let someone stay with me, and we both were in the shelter, so that's how that came to be. And of course, I still had concerns before it even got to this point. And this is why it's so important to where if someone actively lies and attempts to gaslight you when you know what you're seeing, hearing, and feeling, it's going to be a no. And then they attempt to twist things as though they are doing everything for you. How? Did you miss the agreement? I'm sure that I made that very clear. Very clear. And I kept feeling in my spirit because I actually had a vision before even went on this long. And the energy spirit was showing me was a predatory type of energy. And it's karmic. It's very karmic. It's a very karmic entanglement where someone studies you, studies your weaknesses per se. And they do everything they can to hit those pain points to see if they can do mind-boggling damage. Okay? These are real tactics and things. Under the guise of caring. So this specific role that they have taken on to play was the caretaker role. So as far as we know, sure, I am navigating my healing journey, right? And it's no secret either, okay? There's nothing to hide about that. And nobody has issued some karma on me and backlash or whatsoever to now me having a dealing with this health issue. To me, I don't even see it as an issue, truthfully. But if that's what they think, then that's what you think. When a body says rest, I simply rest. Simple. And it taught me in a lot of ways what's actually my capacity. Because before this even happened, as far as long as with my spine and everything like that. Can you imagine? Okay, who is knocking on my wall? But can you imagine me continuing to bulldoze through life and force myself into environments and areas where I had no business being in? That just no business being in. So this was the greatest sit down to happen for me. So many blessings and beautiful things has been coming because of it. I get unlimited massages. What do you mean? And they're very therapeutic. Okay? I really sincerely hold a lot of gratitude to them, the masseuses, the neuropathy, okay? Healers out there, the Kundalini energy, holistic folk out there. So that's awfully strange. And why you want to continuously gaze someone else's ability to carry on without you in such a nasty way. Okay? So now, there's little things as though I could say, I'm going to head to the store. And the response would be, how you going to do that? Now, to someone else, that may not seem like it's a joke or it's no. Because someone that experienced such a life-changing event up close, right? And this isn't my first. The underlying energy is, what would you be able to do without me? And I couldn't stand for that. I couldn't stand for that. This has taught me so much about myself. How strong you really are. You hear me? You hear me talking to you? How strong you are. Getting up. Okay? I'm not fighting no demons. I see things exactly for what they are. But many love to project their demons onto others, which be the sad part. What was so baffling for me about it all was the disrespect. So loud. It was so loud. Very loud. To the point to where the police had to be called. And I'm just observing. Everything felt like a game being played. Everything. From the mockery, this is what you're used to being said to me and stuff like that, to garnish a reaction. And it shows a lot about someone's character at the end of the day when you really decide to go about things as far as the right way and how you handle such intense moments. And the reason why I wasn't worried is because my higher self said to me maybe about 2.5 months, you will be alone. And in the moment, I'm like, Everything going good. What you mean I'm gonna be alone? Are they coming back? What does that mean? So Spirit has a really funny way in just allowing events to play out. I allow it to play out. And here is where it got even deeper than that. Okay? But before I get into that, because many truly love drama, and that's what they live for. So any sign of peace and quiet, they don't know what to do with themselves. Them voices in their heads it'd be too much. I got some spiritual visitors. So why this was so deep for me to really transform myself through it all, because it hit me on a deep nervous system level. So I had a vision after right before leading up, maybe about 3 days before leading up exactly to where the official ending of that, right? I had a vision where Spirit was showing me myself in a past life. I saw a woman. She had very tired, weary eyes, weary face. Maybe about brunette hair, reddish, orange. And she was in a cellar. Deep in the cellar. Like where you have a well in one of those things. She's all the way at the bottom. And she's reaching up her hand into the air. So I've accumulated a karmic debt. And it played out in abandonment wound, in the abandonment and savior complex. So the cellar wound, it was from isolation, betrayal, death alone, wired the system into chronic hypervigilance and freeze, dorsal vagal shutdown, mixed with anxious attachment, sympathetic cling for safety, holding onto people despite cracks, difficulty asking for help, self-blame, and eroded self-trust created a constant low-level holding breath. And it constantly felt like I needed to just exhale, but it wouldn't come. So bracing against abandonment while suppressing the terror of the cellar. So this is how it arose. Right before the imagery, I heard within, "This is why I cling, afraid unless someone helps." Okay. It had completed an incomplete survival response. The body had been holding the unexpressed terror, grief, and protest from that lifetime, and echoes. Naming it plus witnessing it, we have to call these things, name them, signaled safety to the nervous system. Right? Where the body is now understanding that the threat is seen, understood, and no longer hidden. So downshifting from fight, flight, freeze into calm, connection, and restoration. The long breath release is literal. Healed trauma often locks the diaphragm in breath. Exhaling decharges. So dying alone in the cellar represented the subconscious, the shadow, or the lowest point. A place of isolation where light, hope, connection, rescue feels unreachable. Death there symbolizes the ego's ultimate fear, being forgotten, unworthy of rescue, or left to dissolve without witness. Spiritually, this is the soul encountering the void, the dark nights where external support fail. Okay? And it can show up on different spectrums. Either you do everything alone and afraid to ask for help. Okay, bulldozing your way through life. And then on the opposite end, you cling, you get attached, you be afraid to let go, and all of these things. So this was me confronting my past life past. Okay. The weary woman reaching one hand toward the sky. This is classic supplication and longing. The weariness shows exhaustion from struggle. The single hand upward is both a cry for divine intervention and a gesture of incomplete surrender. Okay. Sky equals higher self, source, angels, ancestors, or future and past lives offering redemption. It's the soul's persistent spark, even in extremity. The part that never fully gives up on being saved, but directs that hope outward. The fight, locked away, betrayal. This layer's trauma of self-defense met with punishment and isolation. Okay, when you stand up for self, but the world, system, and people respond with confinement and abandonment. So the fear imprinted was, if I assert myself or am alone, I will be betrayed and left to die. Hence the survival strategy. Cling to people as potential rescuers, even toxic ones, because solitude equals cellar equals death. So the karmic pattern here. This lifetime memory is highlighting a repeating soul contract around learning sovereignty and divine trust instead of codependent rescue. Now, truthfully, with myself,